Social psychology focuses on social behavior and how people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by the actual or implied presence of others. This is Kitty Genovese, and after psychologists John Darley and Bibb Lataine discovered that no one intervened in her homicide while hearing her cries, they took to research to discover why. Participants were invited into the lab under the pretext they were taking part in a discussion about personal problems. They were told the discussion would take place over an intercom. During the discussion, one member of the group would suddenly appear to be having an epileptic seizure, and the experimenters wanted to see what would happen. The experimenters then measured how long it took for participants to go to the person's aid, and they found that the more participants that were involved in the group discussion, the slower participants were to respond to the apparent emergency. Darlene Lataine reported that those who did not act were far from uncaring about the seizing victim. In fact, compared to those who did report the emergency, they appeared to be in a more frantic state. Darnley and Lataine were able to prove that the presence of others inhibits our willingness to help others in times of crisis.
Next, we have Solomon Asch, who is a social psychologist who conducted an experiment to determine if social pressures from a majority group would cause people to conform. The experiment included one male undergraduate and 8 other people. Participants were shown pictures of lines. Their task was to compare 3 lines to one reference line to determine which line resembles the reference line the most. This was done for 12 trials. Unbeknownst to the male undergraduate, the 8 other people were told to give the wrong answers. In conclusion, a majority of the participants gave the same wrong answers as the others on more than half the trials. When asked about how they felt during the experiment, a majority felt anxious. They didn't want to stand out and therefore went along with what everyone else was saying. Asch experiment proves that a majority of the people conform to what the majority stated, thus proving that social pressures have the power to make people conform.
Next is Stanley Milgram, a Yale University social psychologist that conducted the Milgram experiment on obedience to authority figures in 1961, where he measures people's willingness to obey authority figures. With a sample group of 40 males from all walks of life, ranging from ages 20 to 50, subjects were assigned a teacher's role that came with a cash pay. The 3 distinct roles. The confederate pretending to be a volunteer will act submissive to the teacher's stimulus. The teacher is intended to construct the experiment, asking numerous questions while being submissive to the experimenter's orders. The experimenter, a male in a white lab coat, often saying, "It is essential that you continue." Separated by a shock generator ranging from 15 to 450 volts, the teacher figure was instructed to increase voltage intensity each time the learner answered incorrectly. The actor who's been instructed to answer most questions wrong receives vague shock waves responding in sounds of agony and plead to be released. With 65% of participants responding to the experimenter's command to continue the experiment, Milgram concludes that the majority of ordinary everyday people are obedient to authority once placed under pressure.
Created using Powtoon.